Welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into a topic that's pretty mind-blowing when you think about the sheer scale of it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely mind-blowing.
Get this, Canada has over 150 million acres of farmland.
Wow.
That's like a whole lot of land, right?
Yeah, that's massive.
And what's even cooler is that Canada is really leading the way in agricultural innovation.
Definitely. It's a pretty exciting time to be talking about this.
For sure. And speaking of innovation, our listeners sent us some really interesting articles about AI making its way into the world of farming. So in this deep dive, we're going to break down these sources and really get to the heart of how AI is being used right now in agriculture
That sounds great.
and what kind of impact it could have on the future of how we grow our food. I mean, think about it. This technology is changing everything. Now, I know not everyone grew up on a farm, and that's totally fine.
You don't have to be a farmer to find this stuff fascinating.
Exactly. Simon Knudsen from Old College actually said something really interesting about this. He said, "Before I came to Canada, I'd never really been on a farm. I'm proof sitting here that you don't need it."
That's a great point. Everyone eats, so everyone's connected to agriculture in some way.
So true. So we're going to cover some really cool areas where AI is already making a difference. We'll talk about predicting how much food we'll be able to grow, spotting problems like diseases and pesky weeds before they get out of control, figuring out the secrets of healthy soil, and even using AI to make sure farm animals are doing well. I mean, imagine if we could manage entire farms and fields with this incredibly advanced data-driven tech.
It's almost like farming with a superpowered brain.
Totally. But before we go any further, remember all this info we're talking about comes from different sources, and we're sharing the latest updates we found.
It's a rapidly changing field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just want to be upfront and say that everything we're talking about here is for educational and entertainment purposes only. AI is evolving so fast, so while we always aim for accuracy, we can't guarantee it because things change so quickly.
Yeah, it's important to keep that in mind.
This isn't professional advice, so please use this information responsibly and ethically.
Definitely. Think critically and do your own research too.
Now, if this deep dive sparks your curiosity, hit that like button, subscribe for more explorations like this, and share it with your friends. And don't forget to leave your thoughts and questions in the comments. We love hearing from you. Okay, let's get into it. So why is AI such a big deal in agriculture right now? Why is everyone talking about it?
Well, I think a big part of it is that we have more and more people on the planet, and we need to find ways to produce enough food for everyone.
Right, the classic supply and demand problem. More mouths to feed, we need more food. Makes sense.
Exactly. And the articles you shared really emphasize how AI can help us meet that challenge. It's all about finding ways to make agriculture more efficient.
That's a good point. So let's back up for a second. What exactly is artificial intelligence? I mean, we hear that term all the time, but what does it actually mean?
Basically, AI is when computers or robots can do things that normally require human intelligence.
Things like thinking, learning, making decisions, stuff like that.
Precisely. And now we're applying those same principles to farming.
Okay, so instead of relying only on human experience and intuition, we're bringing in these super smart machines to help out.
Right.
Like it. So how is this actually playing out in the fields? Let's start with something everyone wants. Bigger harvests.
Right. Yield optimization. That's a huge focus in agriculture. Farmers have always tried to predict how much they'll harvest, but AI is taking it to a whole new level.
Okay, so how does that work? How is AI different from traditional methods?
Well, the power of AI is in analyzing tons and tons of data. I mean, massive amounts of data. It looks at things like historical climate patterns, real-time weather, soil composition, even images from satellites and drones.
Wow, that's a lot to keep track of.
It is, but AI can handle it. It crunches all those numbers and finds connections that humans might miss. And by doing that, it can predict yields much more accurately than traditional methods.
That's pretty impressive. But does it actually make a big difference?
Oh, absolutely. The sources you sent mentioned that farms using these AI-powered predictions are seeing an average 10 to 15% increase in accuracy.
That's huge. I mean, knowing how much you'll be able to harvest is crucial for planning and making sure resources aren't wasted.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that's one example of how AI is making crops smarter. But what about the things that threaten those crops, like diseases and weeds?
Right. That falls under what we call precision farming. It's all about using technology, especially AI, to manage things like water, fertilizer, and pesticides, using them only when and where they're needed.
So being really precise and targeted.
Exactly. And a big part of that is being able to identify weeds and diseases. On a large farm, it can be really hard for humans to tell the difference between a young crop and a weed. especially when you're looking at acres and acres of land.
Yeah, that's a lot of plants to keep track of.
But AI can be trained to spot those differences, sometimes even better than humans can.
That's incredible. It's like giving farmers X-ray vision for their fields.
In a way, yes. And the cool thing is, we're even developing robots and other tech that can act on this information. They can go in and remove weeds or treat diseased plants with incredible precision.
Wow. So we're moving away from just spraying everything with chemicals and hoping for the best.
Exactly. Which is great for the environment. One of the articles specifically talked about how this can help protect our water and biodiversity.
That's a win-win. So AI is helping us monitor crops above ground, but what about the soil beneath our feet?
Oh, the soil is so important. It's the foundation for everything. And AI is playing a big role there, too. We have sensors and tools that can constantly monitor things like moisture, temperature, nutrient levels, even overall soil health.
Okay, so it's like giving the soil a checkup, but instead of once a year, it's happening all the time.
Exactly. And with all that data, farmers can make much better decisions about how to care for their soil. They can optimize irrigation, add nutrients precisely where they're needed, and basically create the perfect environment for plants to thrive.
It's like AI is helping us decode the secret language of the soil. So cool. But farming isn't just about plants, right? What about the animals? How is AI impacting livestock?
This is another exciting area. You know how much work it takes to monitor animals and make sure they're healthy, especially on large farms?
I can imagine.
Well, AI is making it much easier. We have systems that can track individual animals, monitor their temperature, weight, movement patterns, even their growth rate.
It's like Big Brother, but for farm animals. But in a good way, of course.
Right. And because AI can analyze all this data, it can also help detect early signs of health problems. Things like parasites, ulcers, even injuries. Things a human might not notice right away.
So it's like having a 247 health watch for every animal. That's amazing.
And beyond that, AI can also identify patterns that connect environmental factors with animal health. This can help prevent diseases and keep animals healthy.
It sounds like AI is becoming a farmer's best friend.
In many ways, yes. It's a powerful tool that can help us produce food more efficiently and sustainably.
It all sounds pretty amazing, but there's always that concern about technology taking over jobs. One of the articles you sent mentioned how some people are worried about AI replacing human workers. It even said, quote, although the rise of AI in our lives can be frightening considering how AI is predicted to take over jobs in the future.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. I think anytime we talk about AI, we have to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. So how do we balance that fear with all the potential benefits we've been talking about?
I think it's important to remember that in agriculture, AI is more about augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them. It's about giving farmers better tools and insights so they can do their jobs even better.
So it's like a partnership, AI and humans working together to improve agriculture.
Exactly. And as Ravanit Singh from Olds College said, this is one sector that is not going away. Let's just take our food and where it comes from very seriously and make a career out of that. It's a reminder that agriculture is essential, and it's going to be around for a long, long time.
That's reassuring to hear. And, it ties back to what Simon Knudsen said earlier. You don't have to come from a traditional farming background to get involved in this field. There's room for people with all sorts of skills, especially as technology becomes more and more important.
Right. AI in agriculture is still a relatively new thing. It's constantly evolving, which means there are tons of opportunities for people who want to be part of this agricultural revolution.
It sounds like a really exciting time to be involved in agriculture. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've seen how AI is helping us predict crop yields, manage resources more precisely, understand soil health, and even improve animal welfare.
And it's all happening right now. It's not science fiction. It's real, and it's changing the way we grow our food.
And Canada is definitely playing a leading role in all of this. So if you're interested in a career that's both meaningful and future-proof, agriculture might be something to consider.
I totally agree. And if you think about how much AI is already changing these core aspects of farming, it makes you wonder what other areas of our lives might be transformed by similar technologies in the future.
That's a really great thought to leave our listeners with. We hope this deep dive has given you a good overview of this important topic without overwhelming you.
That was definitely our goal. We wanted to make this information accessible and engaging.
And we hope you found it insightful. Don't forget to like this deep dive, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations, and share it with your friends. And as always, leave your thoughts and questions in the comments. We love hearing what you think and what you'd like us to cover next on The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.